How are you tonight? Let's see. I don't know if I need to zoom out. Okay, I think I'm good. I didn't know if I needed to zoom in, zoom out. Hope you can hear me okay. I'm gonna sit back down here. Get my excuse my arm a minute. I gotta put my tablet back on. I went to sleep. Let's see, make sure I live here. Thanks for joining me tonight or joining me on the live on the replay. And we are going to make a rainbow card today, but not in the sense of a true rainbow. I changed my mind after I decided what I was going to do today, and I came up with an idea after I put my title in. But we are going to play with the die and the stamp of the month, and I think we're going to make two cards with the products. They're going to be the same card but different. So I think the first, what I'm going to start off with here while we're waiting for people to join you, is to go ahead and start making my card bases. So I'm going to use lunch bag cardstock to cut my card bases. And I kind of prepped everything together. This is an impromptu kind of live that I said I could do today. And I also have some Lagoon cardstock. I'm going to just put that aside for right now. I have a bunch of scraps of paper and some inks, and we're going to get started. We're going to make A2 cards today. I might change one to a slimline as we're going, mini slimline, but I'm going to start by making them A2. So I'm just going to cut my lunch bag cardstock down in half, and I'm going to get them ready to go. Hi, Shannon. How are you tonight? Thanks for joining me. Hope it's not as hot where you're at as it is here. The bank said 99 degrees today. I was not happy because I do not like that. So I'm going to go ahead and score them. I just cut the 8.5 by 11 in half at 5.5, scoring at 4.25. And we're going to make, Belinda, yes, I know. It's all right. I understand. 7 o'clock's a good time for, though, just because dinner is over here, and I just get enough time to relax after dinner and kind of come up with that. Hi, Penny. Thanks for joining me. I am kind of making a rainbow card. As I said, I know it says that we're going to make rainbows, but we're going to use both the stamp and the die of the month to hopefully make two cards that are going to be the same but different. One is going to use the dies, one is going to use the stamps, but they're going to be the same. We're going to make a get well card. Hi, Darren. I made this card years ago when I first started making card making at a local scrapbook store up by my mom. You used to be able to go to the scrapbook store. You'd pay $5 to make 5 cards. And they had everything ready for you. And I have kept that as a template forever, and I thought this set is perfect for it. So we're going to use 2 of these. Your air conditioner stopped working yesterday. Oh, yeah, it was so hot this morning. The funny thing is I got to work, and it condensated so bad I couldn't see out the windows until I got the curtains open, and then finally, after about an hour, I finally could see out all my windows at work. So we are going to start with the stamp card here. So what we're going to do is we might do some minimal coloring. You have to forgive me, I just have a bunch of cardstock pulled out here. I just grabbed some scrap paper. We're going to try to stamp all our images right away. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the sun, the cloud. There's raindrops here somewhere, which we'll have to stamp a couple of times. Actually, what we'll do is I'm going to move these apart just a little bit because I'm going to cut them down. I probably should cut the squares first, but we're going to go with it. And then if we have to, we can stamp the other images second. Let me grab my other magnet here from my Misty. And I was excited because I saw the weather for tomorrow is supposed to be 86 and rainy. So I'm like, I'll take it. And then 70s by the weekend. I've got the So I took the cloud, the sun. I'm going to use both of these raindrops for the rain, and I might stamp them one more time. So this card idea was not something my original plan. And actually I'm switching because then I don't have to color so much. I'm going to switch from this cloud to this cloud. And then for what we need is we're going to make an under the weather card. We have sun, we have cloudy, we have rainy, we need snow. So I was trying to figure out what to do. And I decided this little stamp right here could qualify as snow. So instead of finding a different stamp set, I thought, let's try it. I think it'll work. And because it's going to be stamped, it's going to be just a little bit different than when we make the die cut card. But physical temperature was the same as yesterday. The humidity was down 9 degrees. So it feels like, oof. Yeah, no, I don't want my weather above 75. So I'm not looking forward to the rest of summer. All right, so I have not used all of these stamps yet. So I'm going to kind of rub my fingers along them a little bit. Thanks, Shannon. Like I said, this was not my original idea. I can't think of the store's name. It was in Mora, Minnesota. I know my mom's watching. Maybe I don't know if she'll remember making these cards with me or not. But I still have the card, if you can believe that. Okay, so I rub my fingers just to give it a little condition, especially this cloud here. So we're going to kind of play with this a little bit. Because I'm going to color in the sun, I'm going to use the detail ink on the Raven detail ink on the sun. And I'm going to use it on the snowflakes because snow is white, but it's kind of hard. Well, we might change that up a little bit. I might have to change it up a little bit. But I've got clear skies for Shannon on the rainbow or on the little raindrops. And then I'm going to use wolf on the cloud. These are Simon Hurley inks. We might change up the snowflakes here a little bit. I'm not sure because I want them to be kind of the same, but we might have to change it. Anyway, so let's see here. I might have to redo these a couple times. Just because they're, like I said, these are newer stamps for me. I haven't used these specific ones yet. So let's do this again. And like I said, I was thinking about what I was going to do tonight, and I was just going to play it by ear and grab the rainbows and start making cards. And then I started looking at the stamp set a little bit today, and I was like, I think I can do what I wanted to do. And then I was like, wait, we can do stamps and dies and make the same card, and it'll give us two different looks. And you can go through your stash if you would rather use something with snow, and find a snowflake instead stamp. I mean, we have snowflake stamps. Bruce Monroe has snowflake stamps, but I thought it'd be fun to try to use this stamp set. And I don't even care if the cloud is 100% covered in because clouds, you can see through them, right? All right, let's get some more clear skies on that. I did grab the shooting star, but I wasn't sure why I grabbed that because I'm not going to stamp it with that. I'm going to quick color it in with some markers. Here we go. A little bit more on these dots here. Then I think we got to add just a couple more raindrops. I'm going to move this one down a little bit. I don't know if I could see, make sure I'm on screen here. Sorry, I should move down so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to add that up a little bit more. And then, like I said, I don't have my sample made, so we're just kind of winging it. Hopefully it'll work. So, like I said, I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with these snowflakes because they're going to be black and the snowflakes aren't black. So we'll see. We might change it up a little bit. We'll see. Maybe we'll add some gems to them to kind of give them, make them sparkly. Yeah, I might change that up. Okay, so we got that done. Let's start with that. Let's get our yellow color, sun colored here. And I was lucky enough to take a class with the amazing Kathy Rakusin. And her big thing is color plucking when it comes to Copic markers. which means just grab a couple markers and make them go. I still use my hex chart, but I have gotten better at, especially if I haven't refilled a marker, just grabbing one. So this is a Y08. I'm just going to grab a lighter yellow. This is Y13. Just look, I'm not even looking at the numbers. I'm just looking at the hue to see how light they are. And just add that in a little bit just to give it a light, simple coloring. I did not heat set my ink, so I'm being kind of careful with yellow because yellow is one of those colors that can take the color from ink pads and stuff and mix it in, but I'm just being real careful around that. And then we've got our raindrops, we've got our cloud, and then I think we're going to redo our snow, but I'm going to worry about that in a minute. So I might have another idea for snow. Let me see. I'm trying to think what I need. So next, we need to make sure this is going to fit on our card. So we're going to do some eyeballing. And I'll tell you what the measurements are. I'm going to cut down the sun first. And all I'm doing is putting the line up right with the guillotine side right here so that I can just cut it down. And then I'm going to see about, and I'm going to do that with the other side too. It looks like we're going to be right about 1 1/4, which will work for, I think. I'm going to cut that down just a little bit more. I have to order the dies. I did not order them today. I should have, but I did not. And then I would cut these out and it'd be cool that way too. So I'm going to just do that again. And then we're going to go over on this side. 1 1/4, so that's going to be a little bit wider. So we're going to have to restamp this. Sorry, guys. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to cut two of these down, 1 1/4. This is more scratch paper. That's the same width. It's leftovers from something I made. We'll quick cut those down so that they're all the same size, right? Did I measure? Oh, see? Measure twice, cut once, right? All right. So those, we have a new one for our cloud and our snowflakes. I do want to use that stamp set, but okay, I'm going to move it over a little bit because we want to make sure this is the same size. Belinda, my sister has a pool in her backyard, and the kids were 1 1/4. Is that what we're doing? Oh, no, I think it was 1 1/2. I'm sorry. Can't do my measurements. All right, so we've got our squares. We got to restamp these two out. And she shared pictures with us today. And I was kind of like, ugh, I'm just so jealous. I want to be in the pool. No, I was okay with being at work. It was nice and cool in the office. Wait me 1 second. I got to reach my garbage can. No, I don't. I'll just throw it in my little clutter keeper thing here on the side. And let's stamp these out again. All right. So we got a sun. We got our rain. We got to redo our clouds and I think what I'm going to do is, because it's snow, I have an idea. We're going to heat emboss them. How's that sound? And we'll do a little resist. But I need to put a little squeaky clean on that first. I'm still using up my hot chocolate because it's almost gone, but I haven't used it yet. All right, get that done. We're going to heat emboss these with white. And we're going to make sure my little things are lined up. We want this to be kind of right in the center. Pick that back up here a little bit. I want to make sure this stamp is nice and clean. We're going to use alabaster. But I'm going to use my powder tool quick here. And we'll get some embossing ink. And hopefully, I have a fan going here, that I'm not going to blow the embossing powder all sky-wide. That'll be funny. All right. All right, we're going to get out my alabaster. And you know what? I'm actually going to grab the alabaster, excuse me a minute, sorry. Sparkle. That's the Raven Detail. Where'd the alabaster sparkle go? I'm not sure, so I guess I'll have to use my white. My alabaster sparkler must have fallen below, so I can't find that right now. That's okay. And cover that up quick. And see that little bit of blue or black that kind of was still on my stamp gets covered up. Husband works in the yard in his swimsuit, jumps in the pool to cool off, then goes back to it. I came home and we were sitting in the garage and I told my honey, it's just too hot. I need to go inside. Hold on one second, you guys. I got to pull my cord over here so I can heat emboss. I only have one, if you can believe it, outlet in my little craft room per se here. So I have an extension cord, but it's at the back of the room so that I'm not rolling over it. All right, let's quick heat emboss this. I'm going to do it right off camera here quick so I don't pull my cord too far. It's just a little bit. Try not to burn my fingers. And then I think what I'm going to do is something I love more than anything on a summer day, and I think we could do that with everything, is I'm going to grab my clear skies. And we're going to do just a little bit of a embossed resist. So I'm going to put a little clear skies on my blending brush here, and we're just going to lightly go over that so it kind of stands out. And I think what we're going to do to tie them all together is we'll do it for all of them. If we have to cut this down a little bit more, we will into more of a square than a rectangle. But so I think that works. Looks like snow to me. What do you guys think? Does it look like some snow? I think in context it will work with some snow, right? So we're going to just take a little bit more. I'm just tapping up the extra on the side. I'm just going to go around the raindrops just to give it a little bit of color in there. And I'm just going to use the tip. And I'm just going to kind of go just around a little bit on the outside of my sun, just so it matches. I don't want to do it over the inking because, you know, blue and yellow don't always make the prettiest color. I mean, green's a pretty color, but not when you want it to be a sun. Who wants a green sun, right? I'll just add a little bit of color. There we go. And then we need to do our cloud. So I will stamp that out first, and then we will ink over it. So we're just going to pop our stamps back in here because I haven't cleaned them off yet so I don't lose any. Oh, you guys will appreciate this. So we had our Christmas set come out, during our Christmas release. We had that sentiment set that came out with, and had the Oh Holy Night, which was one of my favorite stamps from the stamp set, and I lost it, and I was so upset. I've been upset for months. I found it 2 weeks ago, stuck to just a piece of paper on the other side of the room. Isn't that funny? I was so excited that I found it. So we're just going to quick stamp up our gray cloud. And then I'm really excited to see how this will turn out. I think you could do some fun, change up my idea here a little bit if you wanted to make it your own and make an interesting background. I'm going to leave my background just plain. Oh, thanks, Shannon. I was so excited. I was like, I don't really want to have to buy this set again because I only need one of each. They're beautiful stamps, but I don't need the others. And then I was like, it's got to be here. Please don't tell me I threw it away. And I didn't. I found it. I was just in the weirdest place. We're just going to add a little bit of blue behind the cloud. And then we're going to go ahead and this is just a random piece of Lagoon cardstock that is left over my scrap. Let's see. It's about 1.5 inches wide by just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that right on. And we're going to try to make it straight across. You guys know me and my straight acrossness. I'm just going to put some tape down on the whole thing. Let's see if I can I'll do it in a couple spots here. See if we'll cut the extra off. See if I can line this up here on my grid mat. Excuse my head a minute. We just want a little extra color, and I liked that the blue tied into the clear skies a little bit. There we go. Ooh, maybe my paper's not straight. That didn't look straight. You know what? I got to trim a little bit of that off. It's not quite a straight across. I'm glad I checked that out. Like I said, I just grabbed a piece. I always store my extra pieces of cardstock in. If I know what it is from, I stick them inside with my my big 8.5 by 11. If I don't know what it is, then I stick it in my scrap bin. All right, so let's just stick it right about here. And, oops, sorry if my head's in the way. I just can't quite see. I guess we're going to grab my ruler here. My own camera here. Let's put my little T-square down and see. Yep, that's as, well, there we go. All right, so let's cut that off. Just want to add a little extra color to this because, you know, it is a get well card. I'm just going to snip off the extra here. And I wasn't quite sure what color I wanted my card base to do. And then I thought, I like the color, so let's line these up. So let's see, how did I do? Let's see, I think it was sun, cloud. We might have to trim them down just a hair. Yep, we might have to trim them down just a little bit more because it's what I thought we might have to go with which is okay, because it's okay if we have to trim them up just a little bit. We're going to trim them down to 1 inch. Okay, and I'm just going to trim a little bit off each side. Even though it's going to cut off some of the rays, I think it's still going to be okay. And I also think I'm going to trim them down a little bit. Trim them down to about 2 inches. Like I said, I would have had the measurements kind of figured out ahead of time, but yeah, I like that. Okay, so we're going to do that. So our little squares here are now going to be 1 1/4 by, for sure, by 1 3/4, 1.75. Yep, and 1 1/4. So let's go down a little bit more. Now we have the measurements down. I think the other card will be, I think we might switch it to a slimline card, just so I see a different look. And then we want it down to 1 3/4. Okay, we got 2 there. And, oh, I was saying we were in the garage tonight when I got home. You were talking about jumping in the pool. And so I was like, I got to go inside, honey. It's just too hot. I do not like the humidity. I get headaches from it. And so we stepped out of the garage and I'm like, oh, it's so much nicer out here. And he's like, well, let's sit here in the shade for a little bit. So I was like, okay, we can do that. So then I was sitting there and I planted a few flowers this weekend. And I was like, oh, they're dying. I got to water them. Well, Tom likes to laugh at me because when I water plants, I water myself, and I do it on purpose. I throw water in the air and I dance underneath it. Well, he got me a new hose this year because my old one was just horrible. And this one is a long one. It reaches all the way around to the front of the house. And he got me a nozzle to go with it. So I accidentally sprayed him when I was spraying up the plants behind him. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Well, he's like, it feels good. So I turned on the mister and I just sprayed my entire body. I sprayed my hair, everything. And he was just laughing because I was just soaking wet. And I'm like, yeah, but now I feel good. So that's what I do in the summer. When I water my plants at night, if it's warm out, I wet my hair down and I wet myself all over and just kind of, even though I'm wet, it feels great. So we're just going to line those up like this. Okay. We're going to kind of eyeball it. I am going to stick something on the top of this to kind of, well, actually, I'll just tape it down here. Let's see, I need to find some tape here. We're going to tape it shut so it's easier to put together. And then we'll stamp our sentiment and we will have our first card. Okay. Now, what I need to know is, what do you guys think? Should I stamp my sentiment on a white sentiment strip? You guys think about this while I'm putting these together at the bottom. Or should I just stamp it right here and like the black ink? What do you guys think? You guys think about that while I put these together. I'm not going to make them perfect. We're going to do the center ones first. But I want to make sure I have enough room. Belinda, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've said this before. The one thing is when it's cold, you can always put on more clothes and drink stuff. But when it's hot, it's almost impossible to cool off. You know, you can only take off so much. You know, you can only get so wet and then you dry off. All right, so we're going to put that one down. Directly on the base, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking black too, right, Shannon? So we tie in the black. Or should I go with the gray? Oh my gosh, there is something on my, I got something on here that's getting little red dots on my card. I'm going to have to try to cover that up. Well, we might be doing some bling. I don't know what that is. Let me wipe up my desk here. What is on my desk? I don't see anything. I got a couple little dims there. I'm not sure what those are. I like black. Sunday it was so hot I was sitting in the pool with my feet in the water under a sun umbrella and had yeah, no, that's not that type of hot for me. I will stay inside. I will craft. And because I'm in this front room that is like an old porch, it's the old porch to the house, it doesn't, ooh, those are not quite lined up like I'd like. There's a little bit extra space in the middle, but I think that'll be okay. We'll just make sure the spacing between these two over here is closer to the same. And we have to judge the base a little bit, we will. Yeah, we'll cut off the side of the base just a little bit. It'll be just a little hair. You know, it's a homemade card, right? I'm going to cut off just a hair on the side here. Hi, Michelle. How are you? We were just talking about how hot it is. It's hot everywhere, I think. All right, I got to stand up for this one. Give myself some little, because I'm cutting through a few layers. There we go. Run that over just a bit. We're going to add some bling, too. All right, we're going to grab my mini Misty. We're going to stamp it right on my card base. We better take this stamp off. This is for I made a Father's Day card. I'm on the blog. I have a blog post up tomorrow, and it's a Father's Day card. So if you guys want to make sure you check that out tomorrow. I was trying to figure out what I wanted. I'm like, it's Father's Day. I got to remember to mail it tomorrow. Okay, so I hope you feel better soon. And I have, these are just some sentiments from my staff. Oh, weekend weather. I'm going to do help you feel better soon on this one. And I'm just going to do it down here in the corner because that's where I wanted it. And I'll kind of peek and see. I have a little template thing that I can stamp it on to see if it's straight, but I'm going to go for it. We're just going to go for it. Hope you feel better soon. And I'm just using my fingers to lightly kind of touch them down because there's a lot of layers here. So my magnet's kind of holding that up against the, you know, there's a little bit extra space. Actually, there we go. All right, we got to add a little bling to this just to kind of cover up those couple of spots. Let's take this stamp out. I'll stick it up here. All right. Thanks, Penny. I went for it. So yeah, like I said, I got a couple spots here. I'm going to try to see if I can get my eraser to erase them down just a little bit since it's so bright. Something that was on my, but I didn't want to start over. We'll just add some bling. We'll add some sparkle. How does that sound? All right, I got to reach over here. Let's see if I can find my buttons galore neutrals here. There we go. I love these. They're just beautiful. Let's go with these iridescent-y ones, I think. Grab a little tray to put them in. And we're just going to throw them in. Actually, I wonder... Guys, I'm going to have just a minute here. Let me think. I want to look and see if I can find my acrylic bubbles. I'm going to grab my acrylic bubbles. I'll be right back. We're going to use those. Let's use these acrylic bubbles instead. I always forget about them because they're on the other side of the room. And even though we could add some sparkle, these kind of remind me of rain. So let's add these instead. So let's put these away. All right. So we know we're going to add one here. We know we're going to add one up here. Let's put one or two here. And then we'll see where we go from there. How does that look? All right, so I just have some of the clear acrylic bubbles, which my little stick thingy here is not liking me too much. Here's my really good one. There's my other one. I need a new wax tip is what I need. Okay. And come on, little bubbles. Making sure I got them facing the right direction. And then I think what I'll do, maybe we'll put one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's one. Yeah, that's 5. But I feel like we need a couple. We need more than 5 because there's just. So we're going to add a couple more. We're going to add one here, and I'm going to add one. Ooh, let's play with the last one. Thanks, Shannon. You could do, heat emboss resist for all of the things, and color them in, you could use these and just do heat emboss with resist with that, on like a blue cardstock. You could do them on yellow card. You could do this one on yellow cardstock, and then maybe put a little white around it. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. We're gonna throw in one more here. Where do we think? What do we like? What do we think? Here? No. I always have problems with the adding the bling sometimes. Right? It's always the questions of what should you answer? What should you do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we need one more. What do you think? Should I put one more down here? Yeah, let's put it here. I always second guess myself when it comes to this stuff. Okay. So there you've got an idea of how you could do one card for, feeling better. You could do any kind, help you feel better soon, thinking of you. So I'm going to put this one away and we're going to start on the second one. But this one's going to be just a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead right away and we're going to cut these down all at once. And we're going to cut them down to 1 1/4. Nope, I don't want to do that. 1 3/4. Let's do it that way first. And then we'll cut this one down to 1 3/4. All right. They might not all fit, but we can do it a little bit differently. There's 2. And then we're going to do a little die cutting. All right. So what I did is that what I thought we would do is going to be very similar card. Very, very similar. So we got our squares. And I'm going to turn it into a mini slim card because of the square sizes. So we'll save this card base for another card. And we'll just take another piece of lunch bag cardstock. And I'm going to cut it down to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that means I'll cut it off at the 4. And I'll save this for a slimline card panel. But we're going to make a mini slim. And then it's 8.5. Oh, I can never do the math on this. Yeah, this is 6, just under. This is just under 6 1/4. I think I measured like right there. Okay, we'll save that for another day. And then we're going to score it on. Yes, how did I do that? I was measured it, I eyeballed it, I was perfect, awesome. At 3 1/2, which is how I always start my cards. And then I realize that I don't want it that size. And I always forget that I changed my mind after I already have them scored, but that's okay. So we got it scored. So it is 6 1/4 by 3 1/2, but I do want it 3 1/4 because I like that just a little bit better. So I wasn't supposed to cut it down, but that's okay. I always just cut it off. What I like to do about cutting that off, and then I have 2 sentiment strips for another day, for another card. Okay, so there's our base. And we need a piece of paper for color. So let's grab some more Lagoon. And I just have a scrap I cut. So we're going to cut this down to, what did I say these were cut at? 1 1/2. Okay, so we're going to cut it down to 2 inches. 2 inches by 6 1/4. So I can cut that down here. And then 2 inches, so it stirs out just a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to do a bunch of die cutting. So this is going to be our base. Okay. And I think I cut my card. This is cut down just a little bit wider, but that's okay. So let's get this attached. Because I know that I want this where I know where this is going to go. Like I said, you could do any kind of card base. You could do a yellow card base to kind of mimic like the sun and, you know, make somebody feel better. I liked the lunch bag when I was going through what card stocks I had. I was kind of playing with aubergine because it's one of my favorite colors. So I don't think I did that straight. But I changed my mind and grabbed the lunch bag in the car. Okay, so I got to trim that off just a hair. I had it just a little too long. Okay, so there's our card base. And I'm going to grab the piece of purple tape for my first card. Stick it down here in the middle. So now what I have is we got our circles. And it's, you know what, they're going to be too wide, but that's okay. We'll make it work. I should have maybe done a big sun. We'll cut them down, but that's okay. I get an idea. I was just playing since I didn't have it. What I'm grabbing is the die of the month, which I can't find the envelope for right now, the Be Happy ones. We're going to take the cloud die. We're going to take the rainbow or the raindrop. And I'm not sure if I want the big one or the little one. We'll check, we'll decide. So I got that. Now I could use this as snow, but because I'm going to pull in a different stamp set, and you could even use, like I said, you could use the raindrop with the faces and the cloud with the face if you wanted, so that you could, I saw a sentiment in my stash that said sending you sunshine and smiles. I'm going to put this down to kind of hold it, but I'm going to use the unfaced one because I'm going to use last month's die of the month, the Fun in the Sun cutting dies, and grab my sun, which my sun is going to be big, but we're going to cut it off. We're going to cut it down. We'll cut that down. And then I went through my dies in my stash, and this is an older stamp die set from Brutus Monroe. It's called Simple Snowflakes, but go through your stash and see what you have. And I'm just going to grab a snowflake. I think I'm going to use that one. And we're going to go ahead and make the same card. But it will look different, of course. So I've got my little die cut machine here. And I went through my scraps and I just grabbed a bunch of cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out my sun. And I'm going to cut the sun pieces out of the same cards. Oh, you know what? I got to use the right plates. This is for my little sidekick. So does anyone have fun plans for the weekend? It's Father's Day. My nephew is graduating or having his graduation party on Saturday, but it's quite a few ways away. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it up there for the weekend. And I know Tom's daughter and her husband are coming over on Sunday. She told me today, which I knew she was going to. And then I'm sure his son will come over. We'll spend the day with them. Okay, so we got our sun. I want to do all my die cutting first before we do anything else. And I grabbed a gray for my cardstock for the cloud. And that's because, you know, when it's a cloudy day, it tends to be more gray out, right? So you want to use, you could use white if you didn't have a gray and just ink it up a little bit with a very light gray color, or very, very, very light black ink or blue ink to give it some. And I think I might cut out too, just because I were already cutting out, right? And then, of course, I'm going to grab a piece of the lagoon. We're going to tie the lagoon in this time. Let's see. I've got a smaller piece here for the raindrops. And we're going to cut out a couple of those. Where's the little one? I'm going to cut out 2 big ones and one big one and 2 little ones, just so we have some to play with. Because I think what we're going to do is we're going to glue them down to the squares, and then we're going to cut the squares down. And so if we have some overlay, it's okay, especially since our sun was big. Okay. And then for our snowflake, I'm going to use some white. And I'm going to find where I would put it. Where'd he go? Did you guys see where my little snowflake die went to? There he is. I'll cut him out. And I'm going to run that through a couple times because it's very intricate, and I think I grabbed a thicker piece of cardstock. We'll add just a little color to him. There we go. All right. Oh, my desk is a mess. Your guys' desk ever look like this when you're done crafting? All right. So we got our thing. We got our cardstock here. We got our